Okay, team, I want to talk about the dating market and just general relationships in 2024. This is something that no other generation understands except Zoomers and maybe millennials, and that is dating is totally broken. Me and my brother, I'm 26. My brother is a little older than me, and we are undoubtedly the first men in our entire ancestral lineage, going back like thousands of years, to not be married by the age of about 22 or 23. My parents, my grandparents, my great great grandparents, my great 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 great, as far back as you go, it just gets younger, right? And this idea, the fact that there's so many people about the age of 30, even older than that and younger than that, that aren't in long-term relationships, that aren't married, it's creating a very different world from our parents and even from our grandparents. They can't understand. My parents were talking to me the other day. They're like, why aren't you in a relationship? Blah, blah, blah. They think it's me overcomplicating it. Like, oh, I'm looking for a unicorn, or oh, my standards are too high. And my standards are really high. But also, they don't understand that the entire field and sexual market of dating is totally flipped on its head right now. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. The biggest problem with dating today is a lack of familiarity and friend groups that interact with other friend groups. This is so important. The lack of familiarity is crushing dating. And it's because of how men relate to the dating market and how women relate to the dating market, which we're going to get into. So back in the day, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, if you went to the park on a sunny, beautiful day like this, there's probably going to be hundreds of young people playing sports, playing games, interacting, open to socializing. Same thing with the beach, the town square, like wherever, right? And that's because there's no phones. Okay, things changed really drastically in the past decade with social media and with phones. You go to the gym, for instance, it used to be this temple of like social, like upliftment, right? You and your boys are all talking. No one has earphones in. Think about going to the gym and no one has earphones in, right? Everyone's listening to the same music and talking, slapping each other on the back. There's more relationships in general. And this translates to going out, walking the streets, going to the park. There's much more of a sense of open cohesion in public with community. Just imagine the town square, the park, 25 years ago. You go out, you see 5 people you've seen around town, around the city before. Hey, what's up, Mark? Yeah, I'm going to join you for some badminton or whatever. Mark's hanging out with a friend group with 5 other guys and 3 ladies, and one of the ladies peripherally, so you start talking them up and they introduce you to other people. And that's how community should evolve, is this intermingling and this spreading. The problem is you go to the park, everyone's sitting with 1 or 2 or 3 other people, and if they're alone, they have earphones in and are petting their fucking dog. Like, everyone is so isolating right now. And it's so easy because the moment that you feel bored or you feel insecure, you go on your phone, you disconnect, you do something else. So there's lack of large group familiarity, and there's lack of this courage to create it. Even for someone like me, and I try to approach someone every day. When people are just in their small little group or they have their headphones and are doing their own thing, it makes approaching like really difficult. And I think I know that was different before, and that makes connecting really hard today because now we live in a totally unfamiliar, disconnected world. And unfamiliar worlds create short-term dating strategies, which we're going to get into. So in familiar dating scenarios, this is high school, this is college, okay? And these two things have a monopoly on socialization. I didn't go to college, and a lot of people who don't go to college are always stuck in the unfamiliar world. So the familiar world is maybe 200 people of the opposite sex, right? And 200 people of the opposite sex are familiar with you. They've seen you around, they've seen you interact, and maybe 10 of them, are even more familiar with you. When you're familiar, when the opposite sexes are familiar with each other, there's much more long-term dating strategies taking place. Women aren't just all going for the cutest, hottest, and most smooth guy. And also, they're getting to know many guys, right? And then they're choosing for what would actually be a good partner for me. Whose personality, whose looks, whose, vision and values most match me. And that's what good dating should be, is like, who's going to be a good match for me? Like if you're a 10 in terms of personality and looks, right? You're going to find another 10 in terms of personality and looks, 9 to 9, 8 to 8, something around there, right? What happens in unfamiliar situations, and this is dating apps, and this is also clubs. This is like where young people, I can't meet young people anymore. Okay. This is so hard for me. I'm 26. I go out all the time, coffee shops, parks, dances, concerts, things like that. It's really hard for me to find other young people my age because they're all going to clubs or they're on dating apps, which is a great tragedy because all those places are unfamiliar. And when you do see girls your age out at the gym, out at the park, out at the coffee shop, they're always occupied on their phone or with friends. And it makes the approach much harder, although I still do it, right? So basically, the entire world is full of unfamiliar dating dynamics, okay? And unfamiliar dating dynamics, HOMAth goes into this really deeply. I'm not going to go in that deep right now. But in unfamiliar dating dynamics, I went to the club a couple days ago, okay, for like the first time ever. And there was probably 75% men there. All of them fucking looking lonely except the ones in their little posses of friends, right? And there was like quite a few attractive ladies there. And those attractive ladies got attention all night from men, like all night from different types of men, right? And the problem is they're going to choose the man who's like the most beautiful and smooth on the outside, right? And they might, have a little fling, do something, but the chances of that working out well is really low because it's an unfamiliar situation. That man has like the attention of like 10 different women looking at him, right? And he's going to go choose the best one. And then, but the best one he chooses and the best one she chooses are based off superficial connections, right? And this is the challenge with unfamiliar dating worlds. So for me, my personal experience here, right? I am probably a 7 on a good day. I have a good personality, good charisma. My face, yeah. There's some issues. I know people watching this would be like, "Oh, you're beautiful," or "Oh, you're ugly." It's like I would rate myself a 7. Okay. I tried Hinge, a dating app, for 3 weeks. I paid for it. The premium Hinge, right, in a city. I paid $75 for it. I got 2 likes in 3 weeks. I got 2 likes. Okay. And this revealed something to me, is Hinge is optimized, again, for that 1% of men. It's not even 5%, it's literally 1%. That 1% of men who are a 10, right? And they optimize their profile. They have professional photo shoots. They probably like studied how to do the prompts and everything, right? And every woman who goes on Hinge who is like attractive, like I got a couple likes from what I would deem like unattractive women who aren't in my league, right? But all the attractive women who are like 6 and above are only going for that guy. And guess what? That guy will be willing to sleep with people who he wouldn't necessarily date. And this is what women don't really understand about men, is when men have options, right? Yeah, maybe they'll entertain an option for a little bit, but they're really looking for someone who matches them mentally, emotionally, physically. Like that's what men are looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a woman who matches me. And I would take a 10 personality and a 6 looks or a 5 looks like almost any day. The problem is those women are looking upward because we're in an unfamiliar world. So those 6s and 7s are looking upwards towards like 8 and 9 in men, and they can land those guys for a short period of time, but those men will move on. And that's the issue, is we're in an unfamiliar dating dynamic right now, and dating apps, social media, and like these unfamiliar communities are ruining everything. So I just want to interject here. I was hanging out with a woman last night, and she was probably like a 7 in looks, good personality, right? And she showed me her Hinge because I told her, hey, I only got 2 likes in 3 weeks on Premium Hinge. And she's like, oh, I used Hinge for a month. She showed me hers. She had 5,000 likes. 5,000 likes from 1 month on Hinge. And just shows you the level of attention that women get in unfamiliar worlds is super high, like wicked high amounts of attention. If you're, a decently attractive woman on Instagram or on a dating app, you're getting loads of DMs and attention. And this changes your dating preferences and your dating selection. Now, so these women are connected to tons of people in an unfamiliar world, and men are connected to no people in unfamiliar worlds. So it just changes how mate selection happens and how dating happens. And generally, women get into bad situationships over and over and over because they have so many options. They're obviously going to be choosing the best, but the best has many other options, right? There's two ways I've had success in dating. Okay. And these are the two, I guess, solutions to this video. And number one, this is what both sexes need to do today. And that is go get involved in communal activities, whether that's dance, volleyball, fucking board game night. I don't really care. Dance, volleyball, frisbee have been best for me. I bet like comedy clubs and things like that are also successful. But we need to do communal activities together where we actually build familiarity with large numbers of people. And when we do this, dating will be far more successful, especially for you ladies. I know ladies watching this, you might have fucking 10 DMs, you have 20 matches on Tinder. That's a totally different reality for every other guy in the entire world almost, just to let you know. But also, that is not who you should actually be with, most likely. You need to build familiarity in communal settings because then you can actually select for people who have like their pheromones are right, their chemistry is right, their personality is right. Like all of those little factors that go so much deeper than how they look and what they do, right? So we need to build familiarity. And for men, the most important thing you can do for dating is build status somewhere that you're competent in community. This is essential, okay? For instance, dance for me. I love dancing. I've danced for many years now. And when I go to dance, I'm good at dancing. I can dance with multiple women in a night, have a great time. They see that I'm competent, right, at something. They like that. They get to know me outside of conversation. It's a great way to like meet people. And because I'm known in that community by like hundreds of people, dating is way easier because it's not superficial anymore, right? You're getting to a place where you're just beneath the superficial and you're actually connecting with many different people so that you get to try many different people and they get to try you like really briefly. And that's what community used to be, right? So finding spaces, like I said, volleyball and frisbee and other things have been good for me, where you can gain status and gain competence. And this is going to take courage at the beginning because you're never going to rise through a community if you don't have courage to interact, to gain skill, to do these things, to actually like gain status in a community. And that's the thing, is when you're at the top of a community, my friends, this is crazy, is like once a few girls get interested in you, most girls are going to be interested in you. Like a whole range from like girls from like 35 to 20 are interested in me in this one community. But I go to a different community and no one even pays attention. Okay. So it's so interesting, is like women's dating preferences change drastically based where a man is placed in the hierarchy within his community. And every community has a hierarchy, whether you know it or not. A lot of the people in the alternative and like spiritual worlds say there is no hierarchy, but they're totally lying to themselves because the dating market, the sexual marketplace, is the place of the original hierarchy. That's where hierarchy literally comes from. Is because women are literally programmed biologically to try to select for the best mate they can possibly get, and so are men, right? So we're only, and this is one of the huge issues in today's world, is like where you fall in that sexual marketplace is like there's a lot of personal issues with that, a lot of self-worth issues with that for both men and women. And like, for instance, like you can never have a 10 out of 10 women select for a 5 out of 10 men, physically and personality combined, that attraction level. It'll never happen. There is inequality, there is hierarchy there, and it's there within every community. And what, as a man, to increase your options and to stop being lonely is not to be one of those 70, 100 guys at the club I went to the other day that are like being creeps, that are like trying to hit on women. It's like those women are getting attention all night. You're not going to stand out in an unfamiliar world. You need to go to a familiar world and gain more competence and status inside of that. And also just become a badass in your fucking life. Like, what do you do? Who are you? Are you practicing courage in every area possible? In your work, your relationships, like, and that's the thing, is real knows real. There's so few good relationships today because so few men are truly the real. Like, are you a badass in your training, in your work, in how you conduct yourself, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, are you coming together to your most dominant form? And if you are, you're going to attract someone and actually sustain someone who's also doing that in the feminine version of it, right? And that's the thing is, these women, when it's an unfamiliar world, they're going to attract guys who are superficially at the top of the hierarchy, but internally they're not. And then that's going to create issues. This is why the dating market sucks today and no one's getting married. Okay. Um, so men, like, gaining status and moving up in a hierarchy within a community where you're known and it's a familiar world, really important. Music venues and athletics are the best place to do that. Um, the other thing I would recommend again was becoming your most badass form so that you are more smooth, you are more assured of yourself, you are more confident in general. Oh, lastly, I just want to talk about approach briefly. If you're a woman watching this, don't wear headphones at the gym. Just some advice for you. Say hi to guys, build relationships. And if you're a man watching this, same thing. Like, try to say hi to men and women. And here's the problem. Approach anxiety happens when you are trying to snipe. When it's like, oh, that's the beautiful guy, or oh, that's the beautiful girl, I'm going to go say hi. It's like, no, build familiarity with your entire gym, with your entire community. I know the last gym I was going to, I'd try to say hi to one guy every day. Like, after a couple of months, I was literally challenging the entire corner of the weight room to one-arm hang contests, right? Guess what? Women see this. They see, like, hey, this guy is like genuinely enthusiastic, engaged, charismatic in life. He's actually leading something right now, right? And I don't just do it. I'm doing this so I can build a sense of community. That's the whole thing, is like, you want to put out a vibe that's community building. So you build familiarity with many people, and then you attract the right friends and right women. And this is the approach key, is like, when I'm sitting at the coffee shop or the bar, it's like, say hello to the person to your right, the person to your left. When in line, talk to the grandma in front of you, then talk to the cute cashier. Like, and that's the thing, is just becoming more sociable. And many people are going to be like, oh, I'm an introvert, I don't do that. Bullshit. This is what is required of you to move up and move through this broken world right now. If you want to be successful in the dating market and reject this modern loneliness of everyone in their fucking apartments by themselves, it's like, yo, you have to move beyond yourself and actually start creating community wherever you go, and going to places where community creation is emphasized. I think that's all I gotta say here, my friends. I just feel bad because I see so many fucking really lonely men. And if I can't make it on dating apps and at the fucking club, and I'm like a 7 out of 10 and charismatic, most guys aren't gonna be able to make it, right? So I'm just sharing this because it's like, yo, that doesn't even work for me. That doesn't even work for like 8, 9 out of 10s. I know super successful guys that doesn't even work for, right? And the few guys that I do know who are successful in dating do this. They build community, they interact with community, and they're known and familiar in large worlds. That's what it takes. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of large worlds and large communities outside of college to interact with for young people outside of the fucking club. So I'm making this video, so let's solve these issues. Thanks for being here. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, there's a link in the description below. Also, I got a school community going full of exclusive content and exclusive discussions. I would love to have you there. It's free for now and forever if you join this month. Peace.